Hello guys, my name is Saurav Tiwari and today I am here to discuss on a topic, a very important topic, that is called interview skills. If we talk about college to corporate, our journey from college to corporate, interview skills is a major part that will help you to get into different types of jobs and internships, and also getting into admissions in various MBA colleges and PhDs and etc. So firstly, you must have experienced some kind of interview or not, it doesn't matter, but today I am going to talk about all the practical aspects of interviews. See, interviews or for example grooming are not a skills you can learn by reading a book or something, but you have to have a practical experience. So I'll try to create that kind of practical experience for you, so that you should know that what are the do's and don'ts of interviews. Okay, so let's start. The next slide that we have is the objective of our session. So first of all, we are going to do types of interviews. We should know what are the types of interviews that we will be facing when we'll be going for the corporate jobs or government jobs or bank jobs. So different type of interviews you'll be facing. Second is body language do's and don'ts, very important. If we talk about interviews, body language plays a very important part, because you are nervous. We understand we are nervous, but in order to showcase that you are not nervous, you have to use your body language. We'll talk about this later also. Next is how to efficiently answer. Tell me about yourself. First impression is the last impression. So the first impression you're going to create by answering the question. This is actually a maker and breaker question. We'll discuss about this. The last thing, other common and not common interview question. You are going to face a lot of questions in interviews, different type of scenarios will be given. So we are going to discuss the possible answers, the close possible answers of the journal questions that are asked by HR and different type of people, right? So let's start, and first of all we are going to move on to the first slide of ours, that is types of interviews. Okay, so if we are going to talk about the first one, that is face-to-face or personal interview. The second is panel interview, video interview, telephonic interview, and stress interview, question mark, question mark. Why this question mark? Because is there an stress interview in the market, or it is created? It's a created one, or it is there? We'll discuss about it later. First we'll talk about face-to-face interview. The most common type of interview you will come across is face-to-face interview, when there is a person, one person is sitting in front of you and will be taking the interview. Okay, so in the face-to-face interview, in every interview, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. It is said by Will Rogers. It means that when you are there in front of the HR, you have in mind the set of questions that you have, but the HR is kind of judging you or noticing you, your actions, your your moves. So what you'll have to do, you have to maintain a very right decorum in front of the HR, so that nervousness. See, I understand, everybody understand that you are nervous, 80 to 90%. Some of them 95%, some of them are 70%, 60%, but how to showcase that you are 40 to 30 to 20% nervous? This is shown by the body language that we possess, right? So in the first part, I will show you when you enter the room, how to enter, right? So every journal interviews, face-to-face interviews happens in a cubicle. It can be in a room, a person will be sitting inside. So when you enter the room, enter with a knock. You're going to knock and then you enter, and then what you're going to say, may I come in? While standing at the door, don't peek inside. Don't peek inside the room. Just move aside the door and say, may I come in? Then you'll enter. The next part, I'm going to shift myself to a chair where I'm going to show you what you are going to do, what should be your position of hands, what should be your body language, how you should sit, and what other things, right? Okay. Okay, so now we are back here with the chair. We have entered the room and now we are standing beside the chair and the interviewer is in the front of you. So what you should say? Should we say, may I sit or can I sit? Guess? Can I sit? No. We should say, may I sit. Can I sit means that, am I able to sit? Yes, obviously you are able to sit. You should say, may I sit. Remember that. Okay, now you are going to sit on the chair. The position. What should be the position of sitting? What is the position? So your hands should be on your laps. Should be on your laps. And this is called a stout position. You should always sit in a stout position in order to make the other person feel that you are actively participation, you have a positive attitude, you are not a laid back, you don't have a laid back nature. So stout position, hands on your lap. See, when we are in the interview, it is a very general thing to have nervousness, as I mentioned earlier also. So in order to prevent nervousness, what we do, our body is a psychological process. What our bodies do is try to stress down us, yourself. Your body is trying to stress down yourself. So what we do things which, for example, boys have a habit of doing pen tickling. But actually you are doing this to get your stress level down. But the interviewer is seeing this as a sign of nervousness. For example, boys have a habit of doing these things, right? And girls have a habit of doing this kind of things. These are called fidgeting. We fidget to keep our stress level down. But the problem is, HR is not that much concentrating on your answers. You are doing this and concentrating on your answers and you don't know that you are reacting in this way. But the interviewer is seeing you, that you are doing these things, and he or she knows that you are kind of nervous. So in order to prevent those things, the best place to keep your hands is to keep it on the laps. The next thing, for example, when you are want to keep your hands elsewhere, you can put it on the table. But remember one thing, never put your hands in a closed position. In a closed position. Okay, now we'll shift our position to elsewhere. So I've shown you that what are the things we can do. One thing more. Okay, so when we are sitting, never sit like this. Boys should never sit like this, right? Okay, so we are going to shift to the to our previous position so that I can explain you more. Okay, so now we are back with this. So this is the position I am talking about. If you can see here, the kind of position all three have, their hands and on the knees. This will prevent all the fidgeting that we do during the interview, right? Before all these things, I would also like to tell you the other different thing that we should not do. For example, we should never sit like this. In any journal, for example, interview, if you are having a meeting, you should never sit like this, because this position is what we call as closed position. This means that you are not open to conversation, you are not open to, for example, disclosing something, you are hiding something. So, and this also portray a very negative attitude towards the interviewer. So this is a big no in interview. And the other thing is what? You should not slouch during the interview. Slouching means that you are bending backwards, right? You should not do it. This also portray laid back attitude in your nature. That is a very big no in any interview, right? Okay, so the other things, if we come down in body language, are, for example, smile, natural grin, eye contact, and handling a folder and bag and purse. First we talk about smile or a natural grin. In interview, the smile that you should have is called grin. See, in an interview it is very important to have a positive background. I tell you, it is very important. Why? Because when we enter the interview, we don't know the interviewer by, like previously we don't know him or her. So in order to make the interviewer comfortable, you have to have a very positive environment in the room or a cubicle, right? So for this, you have to have a very natural smile in the beginning. For example, if you are asked a very simple question like tell me about yourself, then you can have a natural grin. I'll show you how. I'll give a small introduction, 2 parts introduction of myself, in which I will have a grin on my face. You will be able to look. So for example, if I give my introduction, okay, my name is Saurav Tiwari, and I did my graduation from this college, and then I did my post graduation from this college. So this means that I am very excited, I'm not in a very bad mood, I am showcasing that I have a positive attitude towards things, right? So grin is very important. You should not, lot of videos I have seen that lot of people also say that on the internet or social media, that during the interview, if you want to spread that positive environment, you should crack a joke. It's not that okay, sir, can I tell you a joke? No, that's a big no. Positive environment, creating a positive environment means creating a natural positive environment so that your interview goes in a very smooth manner, right? So the next thing is eye contact, very important. You are nervous, you are, for example, 70 to 80% nervous, but you have to showcase over there that you are not nervous. You are nervous, but not that much. For example, we talked about fidgeting, that also prevents you for showing yourself, showcasing yourself as not being nervous. So eye contact also, it shows that you are very confident, it shows that you are not nervous and other things. So eye contact, the basic, I'll tell you a very small story about this. There was this, I take a lot of interviews and I have given also a lot of interviews. So I was taking this interview around 3 years back, for an ex company. So this candidate comes, sit in front of me, and he was like this. मैंने कहा क्या हुआ? कह रहा सर आई कॉन्टैक्ट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, किसी ने कहा है. So eye contact is not staring, it's looking. A lot of people have this notion that eye contact means staring, and no, eye contact is looking. The range is this. The range is this. You must have seen a lot of people when they are talking to you, is they look here and this shows they have a lack of confidence in themselves. And one more thing I like to share with you, in sales training, the best quality that they teach you, or for example if you are learning sales or marketing from someone, the best quality they showcase to you is to have a very good eye contact, because whatever you're trying to say seems right to the other person, because you seems to be very confident what you are saying, you seems to have a firm confidence on what you are saying to that person. Eye contact means this range. For example, I'll give you example. See my range where I'm looking, the range where I'm looking. Okay, so I'll give my introduction. My name is Saurav Tiwari, and I've done my graduation from this college, and I did my post graduation. So see, I'm looking here, then going there, looking here, then going there, then coming back to your face. I'm not looking here, there. For example, this we keep on, if we trying to remember something, okay, we're looking upwards. So this is not the way to do it. If you are talking to that person, have a range of this of eye contact, very important. Okay, so when you are sitting, for example, if you are sitting, most of the people, they have this one thing in hand, that is folder. The mistake that they do while handling their folder, when they sit, they keep their folder on their laps. This is a kind of journal mistake that we do, but this is very wrong, because when we are talking, we are moving a bit of our hands and the folder keeps on slipping. So don't keep your folder on your lap. Keep your folder on the table on the right side or the left side, preferably on the right side. It depends on you where you want to keep, but keep it on the table, right? And be comfortable. Okay, so and bag and purse. If you have a bag and purse, girls have purse, boys have bags, or you know, these kind of things. Don't keep it on your laps. Student make this mistake, or for example interviewee make this mistake to keeping bag and purse on their lap. Keep it on the side of the chair. Nobody's gonna take it. Don't worry. So it's not a commodity which, you know, someone is gonna steal from you. So just chill and keep it on the side of the table so that you are comfortable while talking, and keep your hands on your laps, and you're not handling that purse and, you know, a bag or a folder, right? And if we talk about folder, when you enter, a lot of people, what they do is to keep their resume in between the documents. You know, the folder, why we use the folder? To keep our documents, and they keep their resume in between the in between the documents. So when the interviewer asks for your resume, you keep on searching in between the documents. That takes time, and that might irritate the interviewer, and that might, you know, shows a very lethargic attitude, a very lazy attitude, and a very careless attitude. So keep your resume at the top of the document, so that whenever the interviewer asks you for the resume or CV, you just take it out straight and give it to that person, right? Okay, these are the three things, and then we move forward. Palms, as I had already told you when we were doing this chair session, that where you should, when you are keeping your hands on the table, where you should keep your hands, always have a open position of your hands. Always have an open position. This shows that you are open to talks, you are open to ideas, you are not hiding something, right? And there's another position called steepling. Steepling is like this. You can keep your hand on the table like this also. There's up steepling. For example, you have a very good first answer, second answer. In order to showcase a bit of confidence, you can do a up steepling like this. You must have seen, like for example, those speakers and reporters, and when they are argumenting, they have a confident position. This is also called a up steepling confidence position, to showcase that you are very confident and you are up for an like for example a conversation. So you can also do like this, but in the beginning don't do it. In between the conversation, in between the interview, you can do like this, but don't have a closed position. This shows that you are hiding something. Always have a open hand posture on the table, right? Other thing is, as I already told you, you should not do like this. That's a big no. Fidgeting or tapping your fingers on the table. We have a habit of tapping our fingers on the table. That's a very big no. This shows that you are fidgeting and you are not that confident. You are getting nervous from inside. I told you that you are not noticing, you are remembering your answer, you are under stress, you are nervous, and you are doing these things to get your stress level down, but interviewer is noticing that you are nervous. Maybe you're not nervous, but that person is noticing. So keep your hands on the lap or on the table, have a open position, and don't do like this. Overuse hand movement. See, there's a difference in debating or extempore and sitting in the interview. While sitting in the interview, don't use your hand movement that much. Okay, don't use your hand movement that much. Keep your hands very stable, because this shows that you are a kind of nervous when you are doing the interview. This shows that you are anxious while doing the interview. Okay, so don't move your hands that much. Keep your hands stable, talk calmly. Make it a conversation rather than a interview. Nobody is investigating you. Nobody is trying to question you hard, right? They are just trying to have a conversation, you also have a conversation with them. Okay, next move on to the most important part. If we come down to the interview, this is called a maker and a breaker question. Understand me, why this is called a maker and breaker question? As I already mentioned, that first impression is the last impression, and this is generally the question asked in the interview, that tell me about yourself. 95%, 90% HR ask this question, tell me about yourself. There are different ways to ask this question. For example, tell me about yourself, this is the simplest one. Second is, tell me something which is not there in your resume. This is the second one. I'll answer that also. Third is, walk through your resume. This is the third thing which they can ask. This does not mean that you have to keep the your resume on the floor and walk. No, this is basically that person is trying to ask, just go through what is written in your resume. Just go through that. Okay, 3 different ways to ask the same question, tell me about yourself. This question, why some of the students and some of the interviewers are not able to answer, because they don't know where to start and where to end. There are so many confused, on social media and everywhere, there's so many confused notions that we should start from this part, we should start from this part, we should say this, but I'll give you 4 steps. 4 steps that will be able to help you to jot down this question in the perfect manner, right? First step is name. There are 2 ways, there are 2 cases in which you should say your name or not. First case is when you have your resume with you and you taking your resume to the interview in your hand when you are entering the room. And the other case is they already had a pile of resumes with them and they are pulling out one resume and calling you. So when you are taking your resume with you to the interviewer, then you should start your introduction by name, right? And then if, for example, if they already have their resume, you can skip the name, you can say your name, but it's a journal professional ethics that you should not start your introduction by the name. Second step is educational qualification. Educational qualification means if you are undergoing your course, for example, if you are doing the course, then you should say I am pursuing, I am doing. 2 things you can say, I am pursuing or I am doing this kind of course. Second is if you have completed, so you are going to say that I have completed engineering or post graduation, right? So 2 steps are there. I'll introduce myself also, so you'll be able to know that how the introduction is proceeding, how the introduction is building. First is, for example, I'll give you my example. So 2 steps that we have done. Okay, my name is Saurabh Tiwari and I have done my engineering from this college, and then I did my post graduation from this college. 2 steps are complete. Now comes the third step, which is the most important one. This will actually decide that you are going to fit in the organization or not. A lot of people say that the interviewer is looking for this, interviewer looking for this, but no, most of the HR, most of the companies are looking for this kind of qualities from you, that is called skills. Skills. Now there are two kinds of skills that are generally come into picture. One is technical skills and the other one is non-technical skills. Technical skills are basically those skills which have a technical background. For example, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, which comes into PowerPoint, Outlook, Microsoft Word, and different parts of Microsoft Office. And then if we talk about more technical skills like HTML, Java, Oracle, IoT, robotics, artificial intelligence. So these are some of the technical skills. You might be having your own technique, for example, Tally GST, for example, Python, for example, digital marketing. These are different kind of technical skills you can mention, right? You can mention of yours, right? What technical skills that you have. Second is non-technical skills. Non-technical skills are, for example, patience, hard working, right? What are the others? Emotional intelligence. What are the others? For example, introvert, extrovert, and the third one is ambivert. Ambivert is some kind of a new word which is very relevant in present environment. For example, introvert means that someone who is not able to speak that much in front of others, who is very conservative in nature, and extrovert is a person who is very outgoing, who is able to interact with everyone. But ambivert is a person who is able to behave in both the manners. In a situation when that person have to behave in outgoing manner, he behaves extrovert. When a person is believed to have to behave introvert, that person is the combination of introvert and extroverts is called ambivert. You can write that ambivert word in your non-technical skills also. So that is one part. Okay, so third part is skills, but you have to have a very clear notion for different interviews, for different skills that you have to write. You will be able to know what are the different skills that you have to write for different interviews by knowing the KRA. KRA means key responsibility areas. Key responsibility areas are the things that you need to do when you are going to work for the company. KRA can also be known, ये आप लोग JD से भी जान सकते हैं. For example, JD is called job description. Job description is given by the HR to the college or can be directly to you through mail also. JD means that what are the jobs, what is the work that you are going to do, what are the skills that are required in the candidate if that person needs to work for you. So by seeing the JD, the kind of skill set they need, you can include those skills in your skill part of the introduction, right? But for example, you have mentioned that you are a very good team leader in non-technical skills, you have a leadership quality, very good. But one question that comes into the mind of the interviewer is, where's the proof? See, what we are talking here is about having a short selection in the interview. We are not talking about, okay, we'll let go this interview, but we are heading towards a short selection. For this, you have to have 100% proof of what skills you have done it. You are a fresher, it's okay to have a fresher, it's okay to be a fresher, but from the past experience, you have already showcased that skill. How you are going to showcase? For example, I'll give you a very simple example. If I say I'm a very good team leader, how can I prove that? So what I'm going to, how I'm going to start that? I think I'm a very good team leader because I did a project in my graduation and graduation second year, and there were 4 members in the team and the project was very successful and I was leading the team. So what I did, after telling that person that I am a very good team leader, I attached an example and proved it right there only. But you have to be prepared for that. You have to know what is the JD, what does the company want, and what skills I am going to mention in the tell me about yourself, and what example I am going to mention. Because if you tell that example and the interviewer asks, what was the name of the project, and you said, oh, out of the syllabus. So you have to prepare beforehand that what are the skill set according to JD, according to KRA, you are going to say to interviewer, what kind of example you are going to attach with the skill, right? For example, you said HTML, you should be able to tell what project you did on HTML in the college, so that you are a fresher, but you are indicating to the interviewer that I already have experience. If you are going to take me, you don't have to spend that much of time on training on me. So I am the best candidate, right? Okay, so tell me about yourself. 3 parts. First is name, second is educational qualification, third is skills. Very important. Third one is very important. Now comes down to fourth one. Fourth one is also very important to showcase that I, in journal life also, I am very professional. You remember what I told you, that we are, walking into the direction which shows that I am, fully prepared to get selected into the company. Fourth one is hobby. See, generally what happens, we take a lot of interviews. So when I ask a person, what is your hobby? So that person says cricket. I ask why? He said essay. So what it shows, a very laid back attitude, a lazy attitude, a not very professional attitude. In order to showcase a very professional attitude, what you'll have to do is to attach a professional ethics. Attach a professional ethics with your hobby. I'll give you an example. For example, I'll say I like badminton because it helps me to stress down, it helps me to have a competitive nature, it helps me to work in a team. So what I'm doing, I am relating my hobby to some professional ethics that I generally follow in my life. So it shows that I am very professional in nature. Okay, so 4 things. First is name, second is educational qualification, third is skills, fourth is hobbies. That's it. Your tell me about yourself is complete. A lot of people, they try to talk about their father's name, their mother's name, where they belong. When the interviewer asks these questions to you, then you can answer. Why? Because is the interviewer is going to select you on your father's name, on your mother's name, or maybe where do you live? If that person asks, then only tell that, okay, I belong to this place, I belong to this place, or my father's name is this, my mother's name is this, I did my 12th or from there. But in journal equation, this is not required. This is not necessary at all. Okay, tell me about yourself, sorted, right? Next, these are other common and not common interview questions. There are different type of questions, around 100 to 120 questions that interviewer can ask, but I tell you around 70 to 80% have the same 5 answers that are there. That is repeatable, right? One thing I like to mention, it is very important, that it's called preempting the interview. By this method, you are actually telling the person what you should ask, right? This technique, in this technique, you have to think like an interviewer. If you start thinking like an interviewer, you will be able to know what the interviewer wants. This will ease down the pressure on you and you will be able to answer very correctly in the interview. Think like an interviewer, what that interviewer wants from you, right? So first question, why should I hire you? This is also a very journal question that interviewers ask, but as you said, as I said, that preempting the interview, while giving our introduction, we have already told the interviewer that I am, for example, I have those skills which matches to your KRA and JD, which matches with this, right? So I am fit for this job. You have already answered this question, but if the interviewer asks this question you again, then you can say, as sir or ma'am, I have already told you, these are my skills, that's why you should hire me. Simple as that, right? The next question, what do you know about a company? I'm going to discuss about this in other my video, but generally I'll tell you what are the things that you should know about the company before coming. This is called the preparation before the interview. This is the preparation that you are going to do before the interview. First, headquarters. You should know the headquarters of the company. Second is CEO of the company. You should know who is the current CEO of the company. Third is who was the founder of the company, or who was the founder of the company, right? Who is the founder of the company? Fourth is, can you guess? IPO. What is the market price of the IPO? This also can be very important. The others also will discuss in the other video. Third question, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? This is a very general question that interviewers ask, that where do you see yourself? Why it is very important? Because interviewer wants to see what plans that you have for the future, or that the person wants to know, the interviewer wants to know whether you are going to stay with us or not. This is an indirect question to that, because every company wants that if we are hiring an employee, if he or she is performing good, that person should stay with us, loyal to us. They should, you know, be in our company for a longer run, because they spend a lot of, you know, processes, trainings, money on you to get you to that position, so they don't want you to leave, right? So iska answer kya hona chahiye? What should be the answer? See, a lot of people, what they do generally, they try to tell a position. I want to be a product manager, I want to be a brand manager, I want to be a software head, software product head. But by answering these kind of answers, what you are doing, you are limiting yourself, you are limiting to the position. Don't limit yourself. The perfect answer or a good answer to it can be, I want to be in a position where I am learning, improving continuously and growing in this organization, where I am learning and improving and growing in this organization and working good for the company. This is a journal answer. Be safe, play safe, don't try to over answer the questions, be safe. This is the best way. Next, what is your weakness? Very common question. What is your weakness? See, whenever I ask this question to everybody, and one thing more, never ever tell your weakness until asked by the interviewer. कभी खुद से नहीं बतानी चाहिए weakness. क्यों तुम खुद से बताओगे अपनी weakness? क्यों? मतलब there is no point why you are going to give a negative point about yourself to the interview. There is no point until and unless the interviewer asked. So if that person asked, the interviewer asked that what is your weakness? When I ask, generally people say, I am not that confident, I get very irritated, these kind of negative remarks. What you are doing, you are giving one negative point to the interviewer to poke you. Is there a point to it? No. So what you should say? You should have an answer like that, that it is a weakness for you, but it's a benefit for the company. It is a weakness for you, but it's a benefit for the company. For example, I give you example. Like, you can answer one type of answer. You can say that I seems to be very perfect. I demand a very perfect details in my job. It takes time, but my work is very perfect. I work with a lot of details, but my work is very perfect, but I take time. It is, you think it's a weakness for you, but company is gaining for it because work is getting perfect in the building, right? Weakness like this. So think about your answers. Think answers like this, that which are weakness for you but benefit for the company. Next question. Tell me something interesting which is not there in your resume. See, generally when I talk about resumes, I don't tell students to write their hobbies so that they can tell their hobbies in this question, in this answer. There's something interesting about you which is not there in the resume, so you can answer this. Hobbies relating to your professional ethics together. Next question. What is your salary expectation? A lot of HR ask this, asking about your salary expectation. What should we answer? Never give that person a figure. Figure means 20,000, 40,000, 50,000. I expect 60,000. I expect 70,000. See, most of the times you will be given a CTC prior to the interview that this is the mark. But again the interviewer will ask you, what is your salary expectation? So don't give a figure, just give a journal answer that according to my knowledge, according to my needs, according to my skills, according to the industry, demands, you can give me the salary. Industry marks, you can give me the salary. So this is the answer. Next question is, why do you want to join our company? This is also a very important question, that many HR ask that why do you want to join our company? So in this answer, what you can say is, as you have a very reputed organization and you have a very good name in the market, and because as you have already seen in the KRA and JD that they want a particular type of skills, you can answer that you lead in these kind of a skill which I know, that's why I want to join your company, right? Because you have a very good reputation in the market, because you are leading in the market, and the skills that you need is the skills I provide in the I can provide in the best way. That's why I want to join you in the company. Next question. Tell me about a time where you faced a difficult experience and how did you overcome it? These are called scenario questions. For example, situation question. Different questions are there for situation. I am just taking a one example, right? So in this, think of a example. For example, I was doing a project and I faced this problem and I dealt this problem in a very healthy way and overcome it. You can take any example. For example, you can take an example from when the example I attached to your skills. You can take an example from that also. Very simple, right? Next question is, why you think you are better for this than others sitting outside? Very general question to check that what's your nature is. But a lot of people, what they do is they compare with other people. They start comparing. That you should not do. You should only talk about how you should answer this question. So ma'am, I cannot talk about others. I can only talk about the skills that I have, that I already told you. And if you want, you can repeat the skills that you have and you excel at it. I cannot talk about others, right? And at the last, there are a few tips that you need to remember. Like for example, reach half an hour before. Reach half an hour before the timing, because you see, disciplined candidates are most favored. And by entering into the room and saying, sorry, I'm not able to reach on time, oh, that's a big no for the interviewer. I think 50% of first impression is gone. So don't be late. Reach half an hour or 20 minutes before the interview. That will be okay, right? Next is apply proper, light deodorant, perfume, cologne, because you are coming from a distance, you will be traveling. So it's a very turn off for the interviewer if you smell very bad, right? But a light, and because you don't want a very hard perfume to go to everybody's, they'll get, okay, that person is here, okay? So that's a big no also. Have a moderate kind of perfume. That is, while waiting for the interview, maintain a proper decorum. See, when you are waiting outside, there are cameras also, right? And a lot of companies, they do that. They check you out. They check your behavior outside also. So don't make that much of noise. Don't talk to anyone loud on the phone. For example, don't tap on the floor, and don't try to over talk to other people. Like for example, don't gossip or don't over react to different things. So these are the things we should not do. Don't start having lunch or something like that, right? So these are the things you should avoid while sitting outside and waiting for the interview. Don't forget pen, notepad. That is very important. At least pen you should have, so that if any question comes around from the interviewer where you have to write, you should not be asking for it. Can I have a pen? So that's a big no. So don't do it, right? So there are a few tips, right? Thank you so much for listening to me and waiting for your comments below section so that I can get back to you, and we'll be talking more on this. Thank you so much and best of luck.